and welcome to today's live YouTube lesson with me, Mr. R, and welcome to AM Language. I'm just going to in because I think the quality of sound will be better. And there we go. So, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to look at transitive and intransitive verbs. So that's the idea of today, transitive and intransitive verbs. So that's going to be our subject for today. We have Irina F. Hello, good afternoon, Irina. We have Bruno Okada. Hello, konnichiwa and obrigado, Bruno. And we also have Leondina. Good afternoon. We have LVS.com. Hello, I am well, thank you, LVS.com. How are you? Lovely to see you here. Buenas tardes, I believe. Sergio, hello, everyone. Obrigado, Sergio. Welcome to today's lesson. Alida says, good afternoon. Buenos dias, Alida, calling from Patagonia. So welcome to today's lesson, and thank you very much for joining. If you are watching this later, please fast forward the first 5 minutes. It usually takes us about 5 minutes before we can get into things. I think I can add a bit more light, actually. There we go. I think that's better. LVS.com says that she's fine, and buenas tardes. So yesterday, guys, was the first rainfall in Malta. So that was probably a relief. It's nice to have a bit of change of weather. I myself, where I am, it's cloudy, not raining, just cloudy. Now in Malta today, it's a public holiday. So today there were no lessons. A little bit of history. The reason why today is a public holiday, so it's a national holiday in Malta today, is because of a very, very old reason. And it goes back to 1565. In 1565, the Ottoman Empire from Turkey wanted to invade Europe, and they attacked Malta. But Malta, after 3 months of fighting, ended up managed to stop the Ottoman Empire. So that is the reason. And, 500 years on, it is still seen as a public holiday in Malta. And Malta has a lot of public holidays, so it's not a bad place if you like lots of holidays. As for tomorrow, guys, don't forget, some of you, if you are upper intermediate, best of luck tomorrow, because tomorrow you will have a level test. So best of luck to all of you taking a level test tomorrow. And because tomorrow is upper intermediate, it means next week or next Tuesday, it will be intermediate as well. So best of luck to all of you. Now, today you will see the title, Transitive and Intransitive Verbs. To know the difference between these is going to be very important, which is why I wanted to look at these things today. It will help you to know how to use verbs more accurately as well. Sergio says, here there are a lot of holiday. Don't forget the S, a lot of holidays. And this, wow, you have 15 holidays, 15 public holidays in Brazil a year. Well, that is a lot. I don't know how many Malta has. I know Malta has a lot. I don't know if it's as high as 15, though. 15 is a lot. Okay, so we've now coming up to the first 5 minutes. So at this point, anyone watching later can then join us, and we are good to go. So let's start off. and I'll just simply explain what the difference is. Okay, so we'll start off with transitive verbs. Okay, what are transitive verbs? Well, the first thing that we need to know is transitive verbs are verbs that are going to have an object at the end. So that's the first thing that we need to know. We can't make, we're not going to be able to make a complete sentence without an object. So you'll have verb plus object. Okay. Now I'm going to use the word bring as an example. Can you bring? Now, as you can see, if I write can you bring, that is not a complete sentence. I don't know what you mean by bring. What do you want me to bring? Don't forget, bring is the opposite of take. So can you take this over there? Can you bring that over here? Bring is always towards you. Take is usually away from you. So don't forget about that, okay? So bring over here. When you go to a restaurant or a bar, the waiter or waitress will always bring your drinks and your food to you. So bring is the movement of something towards you. Take is away. Now, like you can see, can you bring is not a complete sentence. We need an object, such as can you bring the food here, for example. Can you bring it here? Should really be a question. So I need an object. I need to know what it means by bring. So that is an example of what we mean by bring. Another example, which I think is a good one, is throw. Okay. Again, if I say throw, let's go with another question. Can you throw? Usually, if I am talking about not the ability to throw, but I'm asking you to throw something, we need to add the object, such as, can you throw the ball, for example. So that is a typical example. So in this case, I'm not talking about whether you can throw a ball with your arm. I'm asking you a request. It's a request. Can you throw the ball? So in this case, again, I need an object. Now, what about an intransitive verb? Now, an intransitive verb, okay, I can end the sentence with the verb, such as run, okay, or jump. I don't need to say more, such as I can say, I like, I can use it in the, let's stick to the correct verb patterns. I like running, for example. I don't need to add an object to the sentence. I don't need to say, I like running on the ground. That's not necessary. It's the same as saying, can you jump? Again, I don't need to add anything else. Now, of course, what you will see is that there are some cases when some verbs are going to be both. Now, run is going to be an example, as is jump. I can say, can you jump? And sometimes I can say, I could say jump over the wall, for example. So in this case, I then can add an object. So some verbs are transitive, other verbs are intransitive, and then you have some verbs that are both. What we need to, as another example, we've also got sing. For example, sing can be both a transitive and intransitive, such as she can sing. Or she sings the song well. So again, I can make it transitive or intransitive, but some words are just transitive, and we need to know that. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to have a little look at what we would call, we're just going to, actually, I think the way I'll go about this is I'm going to give you options. And with these options, you need to try and decide if it is a transitive or intransitive verb. If it's transitive, write T. If you think it's intransitive, just write IT. Okay, so T for transitive, IT for intransitive. And let's see what we can do. I'm not going to, let's see. I'm not going to necessarily put them into a sentence just yet. We'll build up. I think that's the best way to go about it. So let's go with the first one. Okay, actually, I will give you two examples and then you can decide. So, what do you think? Can I say, for instance, wait, I'll write that again. Let's go with, okay, so we've got the verb ask. Transitive, transitive. Okay, so before I've even had a chance, really, you're saying transitive. Let's see, T, 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 T. Okay, yeah, so I can ask, John, can you ask him? Yeah, so it's definitely transitive. It's definitely transitive. Um, when can I use it? Can I use it as an intransitive? Well, how can I use it as an intransitive? I think it is on the borderline. For instance, I could say I can only actually use it if I use it as an imperative, which I wouldn't usually do. Ask. So if I'm making a sentence of just one word with an exclamation mark, it's a sentence unto itself in that sense. But it's very rare because usually we'd say ask him. So typically speaking, we would still make it transitive. So good, well done. We're off to a good start. Let's look at the next one. Let's go with go. What do you think? Do you think go is transitive, intransitive, or maybe both? If you think it's both, just write both. Okay, so now we've got go. I can write two examples. Okay, before I've even got there, Sergio says transitive, Alida says both, Leondina says both. Let's see. I'll go. I'll go tomorrow. So yeah, go is going to be both. It can be both transitive and intransitive. Okay, so let's look at the next one over here before we move on. Let's go with, this could be a good one. Carry. Sorry, the first one is also a question, really. So that should be a question mark. So what do you think makes sense? Can you carry this for me, or can you carry? Okay, so all of you are saying transitive, and that is correct. Carry is a transitive verb. We always need an object after it. Good, well done. Let's look at the next one. I think this could be an interesting one. Love or loves. Do you think love is a transitive or intransitive one? So can we say I love, or do you think we have to say I love and then an object? Like I love it, I love cooking. Bruno Okada says T for transitive. Alida says T for transitive. Leondina thinks maybe both. Let's see if if any other of you can come in and think, do you need an object afterwards? Sergio thinks it's transitive. I can tell you guys, love is transitive. You always need an object with it. Okay, let's look at... Okay, keeping this, let's go with the next one. Wash. What do you think? I'm not going to give you... I think you guys are doing very well here, so I'm not going to give you too many examples. I'm not going to give you an example. Let's see what you go for. So wash. Do you think it's transitive or intransitive? Do we need an object, or is an object simply not necessary? Alida thinks it's transitive, so we need an object, like wash your hands. Bruno also says it's transitive. Sergio, I need an object. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Well done, guys. It is definitely transitive. Well done. Let's go with... oh, this could be a good one. Fly. Do you think fly is transitive or intransitive? So Alida says intransitive, Leondina says intransitive, Sergio says intransitive, and Bruno Okada says intransitive. Yep, it's an intransitive one. I don't need an object. Of course, it can be both. There's nothing wrong in saying I flew on a plane, but it is intransitive. Well done. Okay, let's go for one more of this type of activity, and then we'll move on to the next one. This next one, go with laugh. What do you think? Do you think laugh is a transitive or intransitive verb? Sergio says transitive, so you think it needs an object. Do you guys agree with Sergio? Leondina thinks it's intransitive. Okay, so there's a disagreement here there. Bruno Okada says it's intransitive as well. Let's see. Alida comes in with intransitive. So, for instance, you made me laugh. So I can use this at the end of the sentence, which means this is definitely going to be an intransitive verb. So now we've looked at that, and it's really important. So when you learn new words, make sure you learn if you think the word is transitive or intransitive. So now let's develop this a little bit. Let's see if we can expand on this with the next activity. What I'm going to do here is I'm simply going to give you keywords, and you guys need to try and create a sentence, and you need to try and use this in the correct way. So I'm going to give you an example to begin with, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to start off. Let's say we go with... okay, let's go with something like understand. Okay, so before I give you my example, just tell me, do you think understand is going to be transitive or intransitive? Understand. Understand. Do you think this is going to be transitive or intransitive? Or maybe both. Let's see. Intransitive, intransitive, intransitive. So 2 people for intransitive at the moment. Well, I can say I understand, but we can also say that I understand it was expensive. So it's both, technically. Understand would come under both. Okay. So what we would then do is I will then put some other word in there, and you guys need to try and create the sentence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write your subject, okay? Such as money. And then I'm going to write you the verb, understand. What you then need to do is, and I've only given you the subject, I've only given you the verb. Now, the subject means it's got to be related to money. It doesn't mean you need to use the word money. So from there, I can then write, I understand it was expensive. That could be one sentence. It's to do with money. You could write, for example, let's go within. It is expensive. Please understand. Please understand. So in this case, I've written two sentences. One is I've used it as a transitive, and the other one is intransitive. Alida says, I don't understand why you need so much money. Very good. Well done. Okay, so here what Alida's done is she's added it to another part of the sentence. So she's used it as a transitive verb. Okay, good. Well done. And that's it pretty much. That's what we're going to look at. So he doesn't understand the value of money. Excellent. Well done. Okay. Now, the trick is if you think you can write it both as a transitive or intransitive, try and give me two sentences. If you think you can only use it one way, such as only transitive, then just give me one sentence. So that is what we're going to do in this activity. Now I'm going to try and increase the level of difficulty. So let's go with this one here. So the subject is going to be to do with sleep, and the verb is going to be wake. Okay, let's see what you guys come up with. So you've got your verb wake. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be transitive, intransitive, or both? Maybe you think it can be both. And then let's see what words you end up using. I wake up, says Sergio. Okay, there you've used it as, so here you're saying it's going to be a transitive. I should say that wake up is the preposition of wake, so they always go together. Let's see what other people come up with. I wake up. Sergio says, ah. Okay, so let's see what then maybe he's rethinking something. So we've got sleep, and we've got wake. Can we think of any other sentence that you guys can come up with? You can use, and I'm not going to give you any answers just yet. Actually, I nearly came up with an answer, and that would have been silly of me. Let's see if anyone else can come up with a sentence. So the subject is sleep, and you've got wake. Maybe you think it's both. Please stop sleeping. I need you to wake up. Very good. Well done. Excellent. Now, Bruno Okada says, I have to wake up early tomorrow. Okay, so here we've got two examples. And I think these examples here show that this is actually both. Alida's used it as an intransitive verb. We're not going to class just because you put the phrasal verb, because a phrasal verb can be transitive and intransitive as well. And wake up is an intransitive phrasal verb. But Bruno Carda has used it as a transitive verb, such as I have to wake up early tomorrow. Very good. Okay, let's go. Oh, Sergio says intransitive. I will wake up late because I need to sleep so much. I'm zonked. In that case, Sergio, you've used it as a transitive, not an intransitive. You would have to end your sentence with wake up for it to be intransitive. If you add more, then it's going to be transitive. So, Sergio, your two answers are the other way round. The first one is intransitive. The second one is transitive. Leondina has gone with, I woke up early because I slept badly. Well done. And that is a transitive one. So I'm now going to ask you next time, try and tell me whether you think you've used it as a transitive or intransitive word. Let's go with occur. Now, in case you don't know what word occur, a synonym of occur is something to happen, basically. So let's see what you go with, okay, with the word occur. Synonym of occur is happen, like when will it happen, for example. When will it occur? That's one example. So let's see, what do you guys think? Do you think it's transitive, intransitive? And can you give me an example of a sentence with occur? Occur. Like I said, it's a synonym of happen. So if you think of how to use happen, you probably can say that it's going to be very similar to occur. When will it happen? When will it occur? As an example. Let's see what you guys write. Oh, I forgot to tell you the subject, didn't I? So subject. Let's go with a birthday party. And we've got our verb, which is going to be occur. So that's I forgot to put in the subject. So there you go. You've got your subject and then you've got your verb. Let's see what you guys come up with. Okay. Maybe you think it's both. Maybe you think you can use it both as a transitive and intransitive verb. So the subject is birthday party, and then you've got the word occur. Like I said, occur, it's a synonym of happen if you don't know the word occur. So if you're thinking of the sentence with happen, you can replace it with occur, and it should be similar. Okay. So I'm going to write this one in. When will the party happen? I'm not using the word occur just yet, but we could easily replace this one with occur. So just to give you maybe as an example of how you can use this, and then we'll move on and we'll begin to make things a little bit more difficult. Okay, so Bruno Carter says, let's see what occurs to... Ooh, really close. Let's see. Just like happen, you need the S. So don't forget the S. Let's see what occurs tomorrow on the test. In the test, actually, in the test. The preposition would usually be in. So let's see what occurs in the... let's see what occurs tomorrow in the test, or let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so you don't forget the S. Alida has written, when did your brother's birthday party occur? Okay, well done, that's good. And you've said it's intransitive. Leodine says that's what occurs. Don't forget the S, guys. Don't forget the plural S. That's what yeah, don't forget the S in this case. Sorry, that's what happens. That's what occurs. when you forget my birthday party. So, guys, what we can see here, it's both. You can be transitive and it can be intransitive. But most of the time, we're going to use this as an intransitive one. Now, let's see here. I'm going to throw this one in. Let's see what you guys come out for this one. I'm going to go with... let's go here. So, subject, we're going to go with work. Verb, impress. Okay, impress. In case you're not too sure about the word impress, impress is typically a verb that you would use to do a good job, for instance, and your boss is happy with your work. Do a good job and your boss is happy with your work. So that's an example of the meaning to impress. So the subject is work. I've written vern instead of verb. Sorry, that's meant to be verb, not vern. Verb is impress. The adjective would be impressive, for example. So let's see. Do you think it's transitive or intransitive? Do you think it can be both? So you are such a hard worker. You really impressed me. Okay, well done. That seems to work well. Can you tell me, is it transitive or intransitive in that case, Alida? Have you used it as a transitive or intransitive? Let's see what you guys go with. Alida says, okay. So Alida says T for transitive. Okay. Let's see if others agree with you, and we can see. Maybe we can have some more examples. Okay, Leondina says she impressed all the visitors with her works. Okay, so looks like another transitive. And the answer here is that impressed is intransitive. Now, in case you were thinking, but Richard, what if I wrote this? She was impressed. What if we wrote this, though? She was impressed. Isn't that an example of intransitive? The answer would be no, because in this case, even though impress is a regular verb and the past form is ed, in this case, if we say she was impressed, we're not using a passive. In this case, impressed is not the past participle. Yes, Alida, it's not a verb, it's an adjective. So in case you were thinking, oh, wouldn't that be an example of intransitive? No, it's still intransitive because we're changing it. We're then using the adjective form rather than the verb form. So we've got to be careful with some verbs. Sometimes the past participle of a verb also has the same spelling as an adjective. So an impress is one of them. Bruno Card says, it's holiday and you were at school today. I am impressed. Ah, see, so Bruno, this is an example. You've used impressed not as a verb, but as an adjective. As an adjective, not a verb. So in this case, it's not, we haven't used the verb form of impress. So that's exactly what I was talking about. We got to be careful. We think, oh, we might be making it as a passive. No, don't forget, impressed can be an adjective. And we need to remember this. Subject, subject, verb. Now, most of the time, you would know object. But when we go subject, verb, then an adjective, it's called complement. It's SVC. So instead of SVO for subject, verb, object, this would be SVC, subject, verb, complement. Typically speaking, this is when we go not with an object in terms of a noun, but a complement is with an adjective. SVC. So we've got to be careful there. We don't want to make that mistake. Okay, let's go with the next one. And the next one here, I think what we can go with, let's go with this one. Now, I don't expect you guys necessarily to know, so I'll explain to you what this is. No, I'm not going to go with this one because then I'd have to give you an example of how to use it, and I don't think it's going to work out well. Let's go with kiss. Okay, so with the subject can be a date, and the verb is going to be kiss. Let's see what you guys come out with. Okay, so we've got kiss, that's the verb. Let's see what you guys come out with. Okay, if you like this sort of video, make sure you like the video. There's lots of different ways that we can look at verbs. Before the end, we'll also look at some more phrasal verbs that come into this transitive and intransitive form. So we've got the subject date, we've then got the verb kiss. Do you, let's see how you choose to use it. Do you think it's transitive? Do you think it's intransitive? Do you think it's both? Maybe you think it's both at the end of the day. If you think it's both, please write to sentences. I nearly forgot how to speak English there. Alida thinks it's transitive. Okay, Alida, can you give me an example? Can you write a sentence for me? Let's see if anyone else can write a sentence with on this subject. So you're two people on a date, and we've got the verb kiss. Okay, so if you think it can be used as a transitive, give me an example. If you think it can be intransitive as well, maybe you would like to create a sentence, and let's see if it can be both. Alida, I wrote it upstairs. I wrote it upstairs. I wrote it upstairs. I wrote it upstairs. You'll have to give me a little bit more than that. I don't quite follow. I wrote it upstairs. I mean, that would be an example of write as a transitive verb. In relation to the word kiss, I'm not so sure. Sergio says, were you kissing her at were you kissing her at the first date? Were you kissing her on the first date? So when we use date, you're always, don't forget, guys, you are on a date. The preposition is going to be on. Okay, so there you've used it as a transitive, Sergio. Can you use this as an intransitive? Do you think it's possible to use it as an intransitive verb? Don't forget as well, kiss can be a noun. So we've got to be careful. If you write it was a kiss, it was a kiss. Kiss here is a noun. So it's we're not going to be able to use that as an intransitive. Okay, let's see if you guys can come up with any more sentences for that one. And then we'll go into the final one where we'll look at some phrasal verbs in terms of transitive and intransitive. In the meantime, let's see. Can I think of some really good examples? Yeah, I can think of some good examples. Bruno says, I gave her a good night kiss before asleep, before going to bed, probably instead of asleep. In this case, a good night kiss is going to be a noun. A good, because night kiss is going to be a noun here, not a verb. Sergio says, when I met her on a date, we kissed. Okay, right. We kissed in the past verb. Okay, so well done, Sergio. You have found an example. We've used the verb in its past form, kissed, and you've ended it. So we can say kiss can be both. It can be transitive and intransitive. Right, so let's go on to this last one. And here we're going to look at this particular one. We're going to look at a phrasal verb. So let's go with, and I'm going to give you guys the option, okay? Let's see. Take up, to start, a hobby, for example. So we've got this phrasal verb, take up, okay? Do you think it's going to be transitive, intransitive, or both? And we've got a hobby, for instance. So what do you guys think? If we wrote, okay, subject is a hobby. And in this case, we're going to go with, let's say, yoga, for example. And phrasal verb. Sergio said briefly there may be transitive. Let's see. Phrasal verb, we've got take up. So don't forget, guys, take up means to start something. So we've got yoga as our subject, and the phrasal verb here is take up. Do you think it's transitive, intransitive, or both? Would you like to have a go at writing these a sentence? What do you think? We can replace it with the word start. So I want to start yoga. I think yoga is a good hobby to start. So it has the same meaning as start. Let's see. Alida says, I'm going to take up yoga next week. Okay, well done, Alida. There is a prime example where we can see you've used it as a transitive. Verb. So well done there, phrasal verb. Do you think we can use this as an intransitive verb? Do you think this is a phrasal verb that can be both? Let's see if anyone else would like to come in. At the end, I will also share with you some good websites for you to look at if you want to find out more about how you can use transitive and intransitive verbs. Where you can find a list. I would say, guys, when you do learn new verbs, make sure you also find out if it's a transitive or intransitive verb as well. It's an important one to know. Okay, let's see. Can anyone try and do you think it's possible to use take up as an intransitive verb? Do you think it's possible to do? We're coming up to the end of the lesson, just 2 minutes left. So let me know if you think you can use it as an intransitive verb. While we're waiting, I just want to, yoga is a hobby, hard to take up. Okay, so it's hard to take up. You've used it there as an intransitive. Okay, guys, do you agree with Alida here? She's come up with 2 sentences. Do you agree with Alida? Do you think that makes sense? And then that will take us to the end of today's lesson. Just to remind you, tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow's lesson is how to paraphrase. This is how to expand on sentences and say the same thing, but using slightly different grammar and slightly different words. So that's going to be the subject tomorrow. Sergio says, yeah, makes sense. And Bruno Carter agrees. You are correct. So well done, Alida. You successfully used take up as a transitive and intransitive verb. So guys, when you learn new verbs, make sure you also learn if they are transitive or intransitive. Really important, and it will make a really big difference to your speaking and to your writing. So I'm just going to share 3 websites with you where you can find out more about how to use these verbs, some of the verbs, transitive or intransitive. And these are also just generally good websites you can go to when you want to find out a little bit more to do with building and developing your English. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and share the channel. And as always, if you want to find out how you can have actual physical lessons at AM Language in Malta, click on the link below where you can find the link to our website and our social media pages. Plus, guys, tomorrow, how to paraphrase, really important technique when we're looking at developing reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills. Bruno says, thank you. Have a good day, Richard. You're welcome, Bruno. Thank you very much for joining. Sergio as well. Thank you for all. Thank you very much, Sergio. Alida says, thanks, Richard. See you. You're welcome, Alida, and thank you very much as well. Thank you all for your contribution to today. So thank you, Alida, Sergio, Bruno. Thank you, Leondina, as well for your participation. Thank you, Arena F, as well for watching, as well as LVScom and Arena F, and anyone else who's watched the lesson today. You too, Leondina, have a nice evening. So I will see you guys tomorrow, same time again, and have a safe evening, have a good evening, and bye for now. Thank you so much. Take care.